Now, as of tonight, the names and addresses of registered gun owners in Michigan can only be accessed by law enforcement, police. No private citizen, no member of the media can legally get that information. Gun owners say it's their right to privacy, but opponents say, why all the secrecy? Time to let it rip. On the panel right now, a man who looks mild-mannered with an engineering degree, an expert in strategic planning and problem solving, but don't mess with him. Rick Ector is an expert in the use of guns and the law, and he's ready to fire away. Next to him, the Democratic state rep from Royal Oak, Jim Townsend, is a family man, a peaceful man. He's a man who does not own a gun, and he says this new law misses the real target. And also back with us, the original king of all media. You can read his column in the Metro Times. You can hear his voice on Michigan Public Radio and NPR. And if you're smart enough, he might let you take one of his classes at Wayne State. Jack Lessenberry is here. And of course, we all know the fastest attorney in the Midwest, Charlie Langton. So let's get started. Rick, I've known you a long time. I know you carry a gun, but as of tonight, your permit for a concealed weapon, your registration, your license is information that is private. Why do you need to keep that a secret?
It's absolutely nobody's business whatsoever what I own. They don't need to know my name, my address, what type of guns that I have. All you're doing is open me up to be a robbery victim. If I work for a company and I can't take my gun to work, someone might bust into my house and take my gun. You know what? Here's the thing, we shouldn't even be collecting this data anyway. This law is safeguarding this data, but you know what? This is some Jim Crow era firearms legislation that we need to remove from the books. The only reason that we are collecting this data is because of the Ossian Sweet case in 1925, when a black man fought off the Klan and was exonerated by an all-white jury in 1925. We got the gun boards, all 83 counties. We got concealed pistol licensing on a discretionary basis. We got these safety inspection checks, registration, and they banned short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns, all race control.
And yet you still, though, have your guns. Now, Jim, the NRA won a big victory in Michigan as the governor signed this law. You were in the minority to vote no. Why?
Well, because this is the wrong bill at the wrong time. What we need to do is fix the roads and close the loophole that we have in our background check system. Right now, you can buy a gun at a gun show, in a private sale, or on the internet, and you don't have to pass a background check.
That is not true whatsoever.
No,
no, it's not. You haven't been to a gun show.
40%.
No, you have not been.
I thought we're on my time right now.
No, he asked me a question. At a gun show, every dealer there is required to do a background check.
Eric, they're not all dealers.
Oh, you're talking about private sales. You just said a few minutes ago a loophole.
Show me the law that says that somebody that has to
You're
walk.
Talking about a private
show me the law that says that somebody who walks into a gun show has to be a federally licensed firearms dealer. There's no such law. Eric, the law doesn't exist.
Someone who is selling a gun as a dealer at a gun show is required to do a background check. You're talking about a private sale. Yes, you are. And even in a private sale with handguns, we still got registration and pistol purchase.
All right.
Let me have my
Go ahead.
Okay?
Make your point, Jim.
The point is that gun shows take all comers. You don't have to be a registered firearms agent seller in order to sell at a gun show. So you can go. Stop interrupting me, sir. Stop interrupting me. You don't have to be a registered firearms dealer in order to sell a gun at a gun show. So there's a loophole you could drive an armored truck through in our system, and up to 40% of the people who are buying guns are buying them without background checks. That is the bill we should pass.
Jack, it's true, there are a lot of guns out there, but this whole debate was ignited by the Sandy Hook massacre. Newspaper West
Sure, well, I'd like to look at this from a little different perspective. Excuse me. We long ago decided as a society that our guns are far more important than our children's lives. So that we have to stipulate that. We care about guns more than anything else in this world, including our children. But I'm looking at this from the standpoint of information. If we know one thing in a free society and democracy, it is that limiting information is wrong. Now, this legislature has done two despicable things. They made it impossible for us to find out who's bankrolling campaigns. All this so-called dark money that influences. It's the vast majority of the money spent on our court races. It makes democracy a sham. The Supreme Court has already said you can't limit campaign spending. Michigan says you don't even have the right to know it. And now we're going to say we can't know about who has guns. Maybe the next thing they'll say it's illegal to find out which representatives voted for Texas.
Well, look, as I said, this was sparked by the Sandy Hook massacre.
Right.
A newspaper in New York published an interactive map showing the gun owners where they lived and approximately what they own. And there's the map right there.
That's right.
Now, some gun owners complain that this map allowed crooks to come into their houses and steal their guns because it let the criminals know where the guns were.
Yes, this may have been a stupid thing. Newspapers publish stupid things. People say stupid things on TV and radio, but that's like saying, I'm sure this gentleman here would disagree with me if I said some gun owners shoot people, so we should take away all their guns. We should have the right to do stupid stuff. Freedom of the press also means freedom to be dumb, but not taking information away from the public is not democracy.
Charlie, the police do have the right, though, to get this information if they are conducting an investigation.
Absolutely, yes. There's a separate database for the police, so the police know if the criminal, not a criminal, anybody has a gun, that's fine. What is interesting about this, though, is I always thought that the NRA, when they're campaigning, they want a base of people that they can support, and they go to the database and get the people who own guns. So to me, I'm a little surprised that the NRA was pushing this because they just lost a constituency that they could get their people elected. I don't understand that.
Here's the thing. In the state of Michigan, there are only 5 states that require handgun registration. We're talking about California, Connecticut, Hawaii, New Jersey, and of course Michigan. And I just told you all why we have that issue as a consequence of the Ossie and Sweet case. And to your point, yes, it is true. And then to your point earlier, you erroneously stated that you do not need a background check to buy a gun over the internet, and that is also false. Go to some site like gunauction.com and try to buy a firearm without a background check. Those guns get routed to an federal firearms jail. We're talking about illegal behavior.
You're cherry picking one site. How many internet sites are there in the world?
If you're talking about illegal behavior, then you know what? Then they should be caught and then they should be punished. But don't say across the board that background checks are not done on internet sales.
Why would you oppose the bill? Then we don't need this. Then we're checking everybody who's buying a gun. Is that what you're saying?
Well, here's the thing. You want to start. You want to start trying to license and register long guns, shotguns. You want to. Yes, you do. You want to put background checks and do and licenses.
Let's get back to the subject at hand, though. But are we endangering the public by protecting the privacy of the minority?
Absolutely not. Law-abiding citizens who legally own guns are not presenting a threat to anybody. What we need to do is find a way to find these criminals who are illegally carrying guns and who do not go and get background checks. Every time something happens and someone, legislator, wants to push some laws down, you're always coming down on a law-abiding citizen. I got a homework report for you. When you go back to Lansing, let's get rid of these gun-free zones. Let's enable people to carry at work and leave their gun in the car. Let's arm our teachers. I'm still talking.
Wait a minute, no.
Let's get a preemption. Let's get a preemption bill with.
Okay, stop the filibuster. Jim. Okay. What you're proposing, first of all, the reason we have gun safety legislation in this country.
Gun control. I'm a firearms instructor. This is not gun safety, gun control.
Sir, this is not your show. I mean, I think I need to come back on the show when we can have somebody who will respect the time of other people who have things to say on the show.
Rick.
You're wrong about two things. First, we have gun safety or gun control legislation, whatever you want to call it, in this state because of the explosion of organized crime in the 1930s, Tommy guns shooting up people on every block. That is the reason we started to get our arms around trying to get guns off the street.
You're talking about the National Firearms Act, NFA of 1934.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the city of Detroit in 1925.
Look, the law is on the books. We have to abide by it. Much more on this discussion ahead. Gentlemen, we thank you with your insights and your discussion points. And much more ahead. Still to come, should the Washington Redskins change their name? Is it offensive to Native Americans? Charlie takes the show on the road when we come back.